again, I don't want to look back at my life and see that I've only focused on work or only focused on work and physical. I want to look back when I have those rocking chair moments and be like, "Huh, you gave a lot of things a chance, man."
Every single individual has a story to tell, and they're great stories that need to be heard.
I want every listener to know they have the ability to change the world.
Welcome to the 1720 podcast.
What's up, Mountain Movers? Welcome back to the 1720 podcast. Stewie, season 5, episode 1, the premiere. It was pretty awesome.
Yes. I got so much good feedback on this one from a lot of different angles. Some from Scott, who had said that he was in a meeting that week and someone came up to him and out of the blue was like, "Oh my God, the episode was great." He was doing some stuff down in Austin with some of his clients down there. So people had listened and then saw him. It was it's a cool little conversation that started around just good habits for labor heavy subs, basically. I know there's a lot of people out there who are in that space and can really use some tips on maximizing productivity. So it seemed to hit home as we started the new year for sure.
Yeah, you're going to like some of this stuff. So this is new because I know our schedules have been crazy busy lately, but this is the first time in podcast history I've made an episode of our podcast homework for the team.
Oh,
So,
that's cool. No, I did not know that. So you assigned listening for it.
yeah, and we're catching each other on our commutes right now. This is a very unique episode, and I am just leaving our 2024 2-day strategy meeting session to lay out the year. And one of the sections we made in the agenda is to talk about those podcast topics. And so it wasn't just mine. I actually saved mine for last. And by the time it got to me, pretty much everything was covered. But not only did we go over the topics in that episode, it started spinning into other things that we can make it our thing and fit our culture and fit the gaps that we had. And we're saying 2.0 a lot of processes lately. Like, we had a good thing. How do we 2.0 it? And it spun into like an hour-long conversation with the guys, which was awesome.
That's a really good or really interesting point that you made there is making it your own. Because so many times you read a book, you have a conversation with somebody about how they're doing it, and you know that just doesn't fit us. It's a great idea. It just doesn't fit us the way you've articulated it. And so taking those great ideas and then tweaking them to, as you said, make them your own. That's a great idea. And don't put a square peg in a round hole,
Well, yeah, when you make it your own, the likelihood of it there being follow through is a lot higher. Because if you're just like looking up at the wall and it's like, that's a good idea, we should stand for that, and then you just copy and paste those words on the wall and move on, it's kind of like New Year's resolutions. They ain't gonna stick.
No. Is that an intentional parlay or is that an accidental parlay into New Year's resolutions?
No, I honestly don't want to go there yet. Like I said,
Okay.
our schedules have been insane, so I want to hear some cool stuff about the holidays. You got to have a good story or two.
Oh, dude, I got a great one. As Kev, just for listeners, as Kev and I were trying to get our schedules together, it's just, I don't know that I've talked to you since sort of mid-December maybe, because it's been so crazy. And that's part of the reason why you're catching, you the listeners are catching a all new episode style here of us recording on the road. So we'll try to tinker with this format and see if it works or not. But this was the time that we could catch up. But yeah, I'll tell you, funny Christmas story is like leading into Christmas, I ended up with a stomach bug. Passed that around. We think we cleared it. Kids aren't feeling super duper, but we thought everything was fine. We headed to Houston for a few days. William only got 3 or 4 days off from high school basketball and had to be back. So we were down there for just maybe 2 days. Turns out we all had the flu, and we passed that along to in-laws, brought that back home. Then it turned into like the sniffly respiratory stuff. And then sort of culminating today, which I guess is a week or so ago, Stella caught the stomach bug again. So we've had a pretty salty run of more than 2 people in my house being really sick at a time for what seems like about a month. So yeah, how about that for a super duper fun Christmas holiday, New Year vacation, man?
Yeah, hey, in-laws, Merry Christmas. Here's the stomach flu.
Yeah. I was talking to D-Brad the other day too. I think he had a similar experience where his in-laws came in and they all had COVID and just COVIDed each other up for 10 days around the holidays. And then they went home. God, that's terrible.
Sadie and I are convinced that there are times that, and we only have the three of us, that it's just a merry-go-round. Like,
Oh, yeah.
by the time I get over it, all of a sudden it's back. It's my turn again. It's like a 1 month thing, and you're like, "Well, that was fun."
That's when Stella had this stomach bug today. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, here we go again. Because there's no way it's the same. We're all gonna get this one too. So anyhow, it'll pass. I saw an article the other day about how the title of it was "Yes, everyone actually is sick," and so I don't know if it's something's going on unique or if it is really just that time of year. But yeah, so we had a great holiday. It had a great Christmas, a great New Year's, and all this. But we did have the sick for us extended.
Sounds
period
like you
of time,
lost
so.
some weight over the holidays, which is rare.
Probably not actually, but you know
You
whatever.
overcompensated after you felt better.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? Boot and rally. Isn't that what they say? Like I got it out, and then I just gotta keep going, man.
That's right. Those little
Yeah.
Debbie Christmas trees aren't going to eat themselves. You gotta get
Bro, those have we had which is the best Little Debbie snack conversation before?
No, not at all.
Are you down with the Little Debbie snacks or like I know you're not big on like snacking
Oh
and all
yeah.
that, but yeah, the Christmas trees are
Oh
top
yeah.
tier.
We'll get to the goals.
Yeah, Christmas trees are top tier, man. The Christmas trees and the zebra cakes, but the winner for me is the Nutty Buddies. You know Nutty Buddy?
The ones with the layers in peanut butter. You
Yeah,
peel it off in layers.
yeah.
Those are
That's
yes
it.
the
That's the best
best.
one.
So there's no argument. We have
Yeah.
no arbitration
But
to be had.
no, we agreed on something. How about that? Oh, how about your holiday? Folks, for a while, was it crazy? I wasn't, man.
It was good. It was. We had a lot of visitors throughout the month of December, and it was capped off by a 2 week visit from my parents, which was
Yeah.
very nice to have because with no family in town and Quinn away from school for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, whatever it was, you don't have any cover and move. And there's camps that you could sign up for and all that. But it was just awesome that she got to spend so much time with her grandparents. They got to spend time with her and us. And we actually did some house hunting for them, which was a dichotomy of exciting
that's
and
cool.
miserable at the same time. But yeah, they're thinking about retiring here. So we hit the road, man.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I knew your parents were in town, but the house hunting part is cool to have your folks local if that pans itself out. That'd be great, man.
Yeah, oh, for sure. We hold the only grandchild, so it's a big deal to them for sure.
Anything else exciting to say? I know what I was going to say. The loving seeing your grandparents and having that time together. I don't think that gets old. Like I remember growing up and still loving to go see my grandparents, and we were at a New Year's, like very small, just a couple of families New Year's thing, talking about how they still do. I forget what it is, like Nana and Peepaw's rocking New Year's Eve, and the kids now are like in their teenagers, and they still go and love like the special things that they created for the kids when they were itty bitty. Now they're teenagers and they still love going and doing it. So I don't think seeing your grandparents ever gets old, man.
Oh no, I just talked to my grandma, which I call Grammy, yesterday because I'm flying to Chicago next week, and she's VIP, man. I got to get a luncheon with her while I'm out there.
So what else? I got a couple things. We're talk what the thing you hate, New Year's resolutions, but not really, just goal setting and stuff. That seems like this is the time of year that I don't know. We do it periodically all throughout, but this is the time of year we double down and remind folks like it's go time, right?
Yeah, and this might be a little later than usual for us. This is airing, I think, January 15th, and by now the fire of New Year's resolutions for people have already burnt out. Like I would say about 50% of people have lost sight of them. The fire's out on them. There hasn't been any thought to paper. You haven't taken it from paper to game plan. You haven't tracked whether you're hitting those metrics or not. So it just gets lost. And this is the time to really write down who you want to become, what aligns with your purpose, and all the things. So this is kind of like our annual goal rollout where we share ours. We hope that you write some down. I know I've been hammering it on the daily motivations the past 2 weeks, giving up the worksheet, sending mine, making the recap videos about goals the last few weeks. So this is kind of like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I don't know that it is much later than usual though, because you usually start the year with a big guest and then come back and catch us on it. I don't know, it's probably right on point. I'll tell you, well, recap, right? I do a terrible job of doing this, and I'm not like making an excuse for it. I just do a terrible job. And so this year I actually did a better job to the point of like just taking some baby step ideas, right? And wrote them down. And I've actually done, now catch me in a month, but so far I have been tracking. Now we're 2 weeks in. Again, catch me in a month. But even just the idea that I wrote them down this year, huge step, man.
Yeah, it's progress for you for sure. Give me a few.
So I don't like, I always want to write down some exercise goal or something. That's what everybody does, right? But I struggle with like putting a metric to it and struggle with the why. Cause like I may have said this before, but it used to be super easy for me to go to the gym and run. And like I would even get shots up when I was playing basketball, even as an adult, like playing recreational basketball. Like, well, I'm going to do these things during the week because on Sunday I want to put in 30, right? But I don't play anymore, so I struggle to find a why. But the other day I realized I've been wearing this silicone, you do it too, this silicone ring on my finger because, well, frankly, it's a little more comfortable than my wedding, like my, I still consider that a wedding ring, I guess, but the one like I got when we got married, the one that's, 20 years old. And I was thinking like, why am I wearing this silicone band? And the answer is because like my hands had gotten kind of puffy enough that the actual ring wasn't comfortable. So I just switched to the silicone one. And so one of them is actually to get back into just wearing my original wedding ring, which is not technically a weight loss goal, right? But it is like ancillary, like health and fitness goal, because in order to do that, I'm going to have to make some changes. And so the tracker is not like there's no like daily metric, but the accountability is every morning I try to put it on and see how it fits. And I'm like, okay, got to keep working. Right. So there'll be a day where, and it'll probably be 2, 3, 4 months where I put it on and I'll be like, okay, I did it. And I won't say anything from here on out, but someday somebody's going to look at it and be like, hey, you stopped wearing that navy blue silicone band. You actually wearing the metal ring. So that's one of them.
Well, let's ditch on that for a second.
You go for it.
Are you wearing the same original silicone band that you got? Because I burn through these like monthly. They stretch out.
No,
probably because I'm a fiddler. I fiddle around with it.
So answer is yes. I have the original one I bought. I fiddle too, but it doesn't like, I don't like stretch on it. I just kind of twist on it. So yes, but I actually bought another one that I just kind of liked it a little better. It's a little narrower. And so I have another one, but it's not because the old one pittered out on me.
Interesting. I think I take it off and on so many times that it grows by like a half size. And so Sadie buys me four packs off Amazon. That's how I roll. I'm on 4 packs.
I used to think like, no, you can't do that. No, it's fine. It's fine. Like they are, like, to their credit, they are more comfortable. It's
totally.
Yeah. And if you work like, tools on, as you told me the other day, like if you work tools on, that ring is kind of dangerous, right? Like it feels like it's a potential entrapment mechanism. So I get why people don't wear them regularly or switch to the silicone ones, even if nothing but for like a safety hazard.
Dude, if you're a gym rat too, like yeah, you could skin your finger off like from lat pull downs or like the bar slips out of your hand for sure, man. It could be dangerous.
Oh, I see. I've never, even when I used to wear it, and I would take it off when I go to the gym. I have a little carabiner on my keys, like a little one that locks, and I would take it off and lock it onto my keys when I would go to the gym or when I would go work in the yard or whatever. I never wore it to do stuff like that, but yeah, I could feel like it's just grinding into your hand.
Yes, or taking all the skin off.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's one of them for me. Here's another one that you'll appreciate, and there's a backstory as to why this is on the list. I'll share it in a few weeks, but um, the long standing podcast joke is Stewart doesn't read books, and
Yep.
I'm currently in 3 books. So I don't know what you want to do with that information, but I'm currently reading 3 books. One for pleasure, which is unprecedented, and two and two business sort of, you know, business books. Well, I guess one business book and one habits book. We've decided to go back and read Atomic Habits. So it's kind of a go to classic standard. I know it's one of your top five all times, but yeah, reading currently physically reading 3 books. How about that?
Dude, that's big time. Big time, big time. And if you're listening,
Yeah.
like, and you haven't picked up Atomic Habits yet, that is the ultimate January book. It really is.
So I've listened to Atomic Habits, or most of it. I don't know that I actually finished it. I've listened to that some time ago, but so that one's back on. But I'm Kindle reading it, like not actual paper, but actually reading. And we're reading Traction. You've read Traction, haven't you?
You know, I don't think I got all the way through it, which is weird for me, but also not, because last year I decided, like, if I'm not fully engaged in it, I got to move on to the next one. The list is very long. We have guests that give us 2 to 3 every week, leaders, mentors, counterparts. It's like, okay, I'm going to move to the next one. So I don't remember if I got all the way through it, but I know a lot of people that do EOS start with that book.
Yeah, so I had breakfast with Michael Blakemore the other day. We were talking about it, and he was very high on it, and I was into it just a little bit. And then we started having a very interesting conversation around it. So we're chewing through that, and I'm very excited about it so far. And I'm gonna 2 other things. So Adam Tarnow, you remember Adam from I don't know, maybe 60 episode. He actually pushed out this last week, like here's how I read so many books, sort of email newsletter. And one of his 7 points, I forget what they were, was if you ain't into it, just move on. Like, it's not that deep, right? And so I used to be. That's probably part of my I hate to read, is because I don't want to be a quitter, and I would just be like grinding through something I hated and learn to hate it.
Yep.
But it's good advice. It ain't that deep. Like, if you're not feeling it, move on, man. There's way too many books out there to just be grinding through something you hate. So
millions of books.
Yeah. And then let me give you a third one here. This is also a little pitch, or not pitch, prop. I don't know what the right word is. For my buddy Kent Rabelais, who we had on some time ago. He, I don't know all the right words. I'm having lunch with him next week to get all the details. But he bought the rights to this book called, I think it's called One Night in 1,000 Years, and then got James Vanderbeek from Varsity Blues. You remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
To read or narrate, I guess, the audiobook. And so that's the book. Actually, I'm listening to that one. I take back what I said earlier. I'm listening to that one because Vanderbeek narrated it, and it's it's not a business book. I'm reading it for pleasure, and it has been one of these things that I texted Kent the other day. Like, I have hung on every word of this thing. I got sucked into it from the preview, and have hung on every word. And it's I think it's kind of generally a coming of age story, a la Dead Poets Society. And it's been great. So if y'all are looking for something to read for fun or listen to for fun, I'm 8 or 9 chapters in so far, and it's super duper. So that's it.
Dude,
I'm reading 3 books. Yeah, my goal was 1 a month, and so I guess if I picked up 3 immediately, if I get these 3 finished in the first quarter, I will count that as a victory.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's huge. It's like 3x from last year.
I know, you can't. It's like dividing by 0 breaks the system. It's not even an X. You can't X this. This is because last year was 0
to the moon.
Yeah, right. So those are the 3. Wedding ring, one book per month. And the other one was exercise, but trying to figure out the why. And so I've packaged a why around exercising that is non-derivative of scoring 30 points on Sundays. So that's my 3.
That's awesome, man. And you're already rocking and rolling on the reading one, which is great. What's the game plan for the exercise one?
I don't really have a great plan other than Jake pushed out his 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a bunch of other couple of things. I don't know if you saw that email. And so we've been trying to do that. It's not great. It's not like a marathon, but that's okay. Actually, the most religious to this is Stella. He has done her push-ups and sit-ups every day. And sometimes she'll come in and hit me. And she's like, Dad, have you done yours today? And I'm like, no. So that's the very short plan is this. Just do my push-ups and sit-ups every day.
That's a plan. And accountability comes in all shapes, sizes, and ages, dude. How cool is that?
Have I told you, speaking of accountability in all shapes and sizes, have I told you the story about me and William running one day? This was about 3 years ago. And
I don't know, hit me with
he was running cross country, and it was at that time where he was like, I had pushed him for years when we would go jogging, like, hey man, come on, you gotta blah, 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 just kind of in his ear the whole time. And this particular day, I'm actually driving right by where we were when he said it, because I'm getting close to my house. And, I was lagging behind and he was kind of running me down, and he turned back to me and he goes, come on, Dad. You just got to push a little harder. Your body is strong. It's your mind that's weak. Oh. I was like, oh man, got me so good.
He got you.
Yes. Yeah. This was like 3 years ago. He was 12 or 13. And, so anyway, yeah, to your point, it comes in all sizes. That one's those 2 are from the kid, but yeah, it comes in all shapes and sizes.
I love it, man. I do genuinely love hearing other people's goals and the game plan to get there. And every year I have several people that send me their goal achieving worksheet and say, hey, would you please hold me accountable? I don't have faith that I'll keep on with this. And I'm like, oh, I got you. I'll load this in the calendar. Don't you worry about it. And it's funny when you think about that, like how much we need each other, because people are pleading with you to just hold me accountable, like, because they just don't trust themselves. And that's the whole point of having a game plan and a system that goes beyond your thoughts. And that's why we're so passionate about talking about this stuff. At least for me, I've always had such a low ceiling over my life that if it weren't for goal achieving, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I'm at. And so year over year, setting these goals and achieving them have radically impacted my life. And, you know, the making sure we're hitting all the buckets of the life. So work, career, family, physical, spiritual, you got to have some personal ones. Like those are the buckets. And then the types of goals each year that I set are consistency goals, which you can do it as the person you are today. You just have to keep showing up. And then stretch goals that the consistency goals can feed, which stretch goals are goals that I can't achieve with who I am today, but with some consistency and effort, I can potentially get there. And so much like how you just shocked me with some goal setting, I'm going to shock you if you haven't seen it on the DM list. Like typically I'm known for the audacious physical goals. Like I'm going to go do this, and people are like, you're insane. And so that's kind of played out for me. I'm going to do it, right? I got consistency goals in the physical bucket, 250 workouts, 50 10Ks, a no snacking past 8. That was the little Debbie comment earlier.
Yeah.
Because I've learned that when I create new habits, or when I break old habits, I create new habits. So last year was the first time in my journey of getting to 10% body fat. That was last year's stretch goal. I got there, but I started this new evening snacking thing that I've never done before. So now this year, there's no snacking after 8. And if I do it, I have a 5K penalty. So somehow, some way, I got to fit a 5K into my schedule that's already blown to pieces, which I've already had to run to. So, and it's very difficult to fit into my calendar. So it's like, I'm going to keep my fat butt out of the little Debbie drawer and just sleep through the night.
Yeah.
But this year, so I started really evaluating, like, I don't want to look back at my life and be like, oh, cool, you did all this physical stuff. What about the whole person, you know? And so I've been focusing more on family. I focused more on family this year. And now this year in the personal bucket, my consistency goal that's a wild card is singing lessons. And the stretch goal is leading a worship song at church.
Oh my gosh, that is a total curveball, man.
So you didn't know that until I just said it?
No, I did not know it till you just said it. Does that mean I'm not reading the DMs that well?
Oh, 100%. But that makes for a better podcast episode.
Yeah. That's funny because I do look at them every day. I've like stopped down, study them every day, and I might have skipped one now and then. But yeah, that's amazing. Can you sing at all?
Not really. No, it's going to be rough. So Sam, my pastor, on New Year's Eve, he called me at 7:00 because he had my goal achieving worksheet. And he called me 7 p.m. New Year's Eve, and he's like, dude, are you sure about this goal? Are you sure you want to come through with it? Like, I don't think you can do it. Like, I don't think it's a great idea. We got to protect the brand, all this sort of stuff. He sounded genuinely concerned with it. And he was either playing like leadership chess with me because he knew that I'd put a chip on my shoulder to take it serious. But as you are well aware, I don't need that chip. But it did.
Yeah, right.
It was like, no, it's staying. It told me that I was right where I needed to be with the weird stretch goals in my life. It's just not the physical bucket this year.
I want to know how that's going because I don't doubt that you can and will do it, but not knowing you to be a singer. That's just such a curveball. Like, it's such a curveball.
And as you know, I spend months coming up with these. And so I had like a 3-item thing. And it was singing, like line dancing, so we can go dancing like Billy Bob's with Sadie, and playing the piano. And out of those 3, singing scared me the most, so I had to start with. And so January's bananas. We talked about it twice, I think, already on this episode. But I can't formalize anything other than singing in the car and just finding out just how bad I am. But I start lessons Wednesday, February 7th. One-on-one coaching. So I'm in. I'm spending money on it. I'm spending time on it. I'm spending consistency and effort on it. I'm in.
You know, Ashley and I talk sometimes about how I wonder if the kids specifically, but like they have some unique talent that we didn't even know to attempt to cultivate. And maybe they are all like concerto opera singers and we don't even know it. Maybe that's you, man. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's just a diamond in the rough. You're going to get that thing sharpened up and we're all going to be headed to, what's it called? The fancy place in New York City. I can't think of the name of it right
Radio
now.
Music Hall? No, that's Nashville, isn't it?
Radio Music Hall, I think, is in New York too, but I'm thinking about, it's like a center for performing arts. It's more of a, violins and operas than it is, the Rockettes.
Yeah, I'm going to make Pavarotti sound like a Subway singer by the end of this year. Here we go.
Okay. Dude,
I'm absolutely kidding. It's going to be ruthless.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard some really good Subway singers too. So
Amen.
Your stretch go, okay. So at church, that's good. Should have been trying out for America's Got Talent. That's what it should have been.
Oh man. That's brutal.
So good.
Here are some knowns after belting out some trying to really, really sing in the car. Try this on your next ride solo. Like, try to truly sing. What I found out is, like, I could whisper sing, medium sing, or like boisterous, kind of joking, sing loud. But like, you cannot connect those 3 dots. Like, there's no range whatsoever. So when I try to go from like one sound to the next sound, it's brutal. So we're it's kind of like 0 to marathon. I bought the running shoes. That's as far as I made it. Well, let's see where we go.
That's so good.
But I'm excited for the other things, like physical, check. I should have those. This one is way outside of my comfort zone. And then I got 2 family trips on there, which is forcing me to think early and often about it. And we already have a ski trip booked for next month, and none of us, or I haven't been skiing before. Quinn hasn't been skiing before. And it's just, again, I don't want to look back at my life and see that I've only focused on work or only focused on work and physical. I want to look back when I have those rocking chair moments and be like, "Huh, you gave a lot of things a chance, man. And you put your
Right.
family first. They felt that, like there's take Quinn to lunch once a month on there, take Sadie on a date once a month on there. Like doing those things continuously is how I make sure life is lived fully,
Well,
Um,
and there's some I don't remember where I read it or heard about it. I want to say it was the Huberman podcast, but there is some part of your brain that they say as you get older, life tends to speed up, which I think is true. But the neuroscience behind why that's true generally is because you perceive experiences that you've had before at a faster clip than new experiences. And so the gist of the theory is people who are always doing new things or having new experiences or deciding they're going to learn how to sing when they're in their 30s, like their lives feel longer because they're always having these new experiences as opposed to, no, I get up and do this and drink my coffee and put a tablespoon of this and go to work and sit in this chair. And then all of a sudden 40 years fly by, like, boom. So not only is there some rocking chair moment of looking back and saying, I don't want to have been just focused on these things. I think there is, for you and for your family, the ability with all these new things to begin to elongate the perception of the time that we do have here. So there's a couple of things going on there, man.
Dude, that's rich and timely because we're just exiting a 2-day strategy session for Mountain Hoover Facades and laying out we did the yearly goals like we always do, but for the first time we did 3, 5, and 10-year big BHAGs. So big, hairy, audacious goals.
Yeah.
And looking at the 3 and 5, it's like, guys, look, it's already January of 24. Like the end of this 3-year BHAG is only the end of 2026. Like that's going to be here in a flat. Like don't look at that as burdensome that's so far away. Look at how close it really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and if Huberman said it, that means it's backed by science.
Well, don't somebody fact check me on that. I think it was Huberman, but it definitely was a scholarly article. It wasn't just some random nonsense website. It was a reputable neuroscience related article that I read. So, if it ain't Huberman, my bad. But also, if you're not watching Huberman or listening to Huberman, you should go do that. Also, Andrew, right? Andrew.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast, man. Every time I've listened to an episode of his, it's so engaging and intelligent. My goodness. Like, yeah, it's just unbelievable.
All right. So we have the car ride home episode, which is awesome. I love this new idea. But also what that means is our timing gets a little jumbled up. I have no idea how long we've been going, but I'm home. A minute, we have other stuff, or I don't know where we are in the episode, or if we want to wrap or what, man.
Yeah, I think just recap, get those thoughts and wishes out of your brain and onto paper, right? So have some goals for the year for yourself, for your family, for your future, for your company, for all the buckets of your life. Come up with a tracking mechanism. So don't say be more, be better. Like it's got to be quantifiable. Come up with something that I'm going to do this X number of times or whatever the case may be. Share it with somebody, just like Stewart and his daughter Stella. Like they're holding each other accountable because they're walking through something together and they have a unified goal. Find an accountability partner. And then once you have that game plan, just execute it repeatedly. It's simple yet difficult for so many. Get it on paper, get it tracking, have somebody hold you accountable and follow through. And this will be your best year yet. Just keep up with it. Don't let the fire that goes out every single year for every single one of us be the reason why you stop chasing your goals.
I've heard a few people, myself included, a little bit, sort of repeat the mantra that 24 is going to be the best year ever. And I mean, I think there's something to it if you put something to it. there's nothing to it if it's just words you say,
For sure.
but there's something to it if you do something about it. So it's a good reminder for everybody as we kick off into, I guess, sort of mid-January. Get yourself back on the goal that you fell off of, and have some ideas on how to keep track of all it, so that 24 is the best year ever.
You got it.
All right, man. Well, we will catch up again next week. And for you listeners out there, y'all stay out there and keep moving mountains.